Well, let me go to Martin Brechbiel, MMR. And Martin is starting a new series this evening that he dreamed up. It's called Scratch Building Corner. And I'm really looking forward to this, Martin.
Okay, so this is going to be a bit of an adventure. I potentially, knowing the way I work in my shop, this could last 3 or 4 years, or longer if we're really getting into trouble. We're going to start really slow and easy, simple, very simple. Really, I wouldn't make it up otherwise. I mean, we'll start really simple, and that's what we're going to start with tonight. I'm going to start with this because it's the first thing I found in the back of the storage box of scribed or milled siding. I've got 2 different types of board and batten. Not very much of either. So part of the hidden agenda here is for me to use up some things and get rid of it at your expense. Stuff that's just been lingering around in the back of boxes. So we've got there are different space scribe siding or scribe board and batten. So that's 3/16. This is 1/8. One's from Northeastern, one's from Kapler. I've got a little bit of each. We'll try to use some of it up and get rid of it, or at least minimize the amount of space it's occupying in my shop. And as far as I know, Kapler's still in business, but order now before they aren't. Okay, I had a bag with a Tichy door. So I don't have any actual direction necessarily where I'm going with sometimes when I build. I'll look at a picture and say, oh, let's go that way. And measurements, knowing exactly what I'm going to do are completely arbitrary at times. So this is going to be the front and the back of the building. This is the Kapler siding, and the width actually is determined by, you guessed it, the Kapler siding. I'm not even going to bother to cut it. We're going to be really simple. Just take it out of the bag and use it. Right, so we cut it to a length that looks reasonably high for capturing a simple door. This was a lonely Tichy door in a bag in a drawer with a bunch of other doors. But this one was the lonely one. It was alone in its own bag, so it's going away. It's going to be used. So it's sitting on top of the front board, front wall, the back wall, same width. This makes it easy. The front and the back are the same width. We're not going to have to get funky and weird and wrap around dimensions and corners. We'll leave that for some other week where we have too many dimensions and shapes and sizes of walls. Okay, so we're going to use the other scribe siding for the sides. And we're going to put a slope on the top because that'll make the rain fall off the back. Flat roofs are problematic, and you don't see a lot of flat roofs on wooden structures in earlier years. And since that's the periods I tend to model, we're going to have a slanted roof. So left and a right. Make sure you make a left and a right if you're going to make 2 same, if you cut them the same, then you have 2 rights or 2 lefts, and that doesn't work. Ask me how I know that. I've done it. You get going really fast. You don't pay attention to which side of the wood you're cutting. And all of a sudden, you have 2 rights. But here we have a right and a left.
Hey, what's up?
Okay, so we cut a hole for the door to fit into. This is pretty straightforward and easy. Just measure the back of the door casting frame, flip it over, measure it. I like to use a millimeter ruler for this because it's finer in graduations and you can just see where you're going. I'm going to put it off to the one side because I can. You want to be a little careful cutting that because you don't want to split the wood. It is 1/16 of an inch thick, but it can still split when it gets too close to the edges. You can see above, I don't know if you can see my cursor or not. There it is. Up here, I've trimmed away some of the batten. That's so the door framing will lay flat on the wall. You just trim that away with a little edge of your scalpel, carve it off. Just cut a line, flick it off, it's done. This should fit in there fairly smoothly. You don't want it tight because that'll flex the wood. It won't be flat then. You don't want it loose so it falls out. Something in between, it's the Goldilocks direction. Not too tight, not too loose, just right. And it fits in the hole. What do you know? Gosh, that was simple. So let's take the parts. And I'm using, basically using carpenter's glue, the yellow stuff, where I can, because I can, and it's all wood at this point, so it doesn't really matter. The door casting is in there with some goo and CA, but everything else is carpenter's glue. So we just put the front and the back together with the two sides. All that framing is on the inside. It's not really for bracing. It's more for a gluing surface. So this is just so I have something wider than a 1/16 of an inch to glue to, front and back. It's a matter of convenience. It's also a matter of cleaning out the scrap wood box. That's why you keep a scrap wood box. I advise you keep at least 2 or 3. I have 5 or 6, and when they overflow, I put them in a bigger box and take them up to the Strasbourg train show, and somebody buys them from me. It's amazing how that works. But if you sort it out into various types of components and pieces, you'll find you'll actually use a lot of this stuff. And it'll save you from opening a pack of something else that you really don't want to open just to get a piece of bracing out or a piece of glue, something for a glue surface. And you just get it accomplished with scrap wood. It doesn't even have to be all the same dimension. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is this is up on the edge, that's up on the edge. It can be bigger, it can be smaller. It doesn't really matter that much as long as it gets you enough surface for the glue to hold on to the roof. Okay. By the way, this is going to be a really short segment tonight. I think I only have 10 slides, so I'm going to talk a lot just to stall. But I'm going to stretch this out. I don't want to take too much time every week. If I take 15 minutes, I'm probably going too long. So these are the beginnings of the platform. So we're going to put this up on some legs on a platform. I don't know the dimensions of the platform yet, but I didn't until the previous slide was done. It has to be bigger than the building that's going to sit on it, or the same size as the building that's going to sit on it. So I'm not really actually measuring anything if I can help it. I mean, yes, there's a line here, but that's measured off of the width of this board. And if you can avoid measuring, you can get away with it. It's not necessary sometimes, or quite a lot. So these are 4 legs, cross beam. We're going to build the beginnings of a platform. So going to glue this part, let's back up. One of these shorter pieces goes across here, goes across here, but it goes across below that line. And then another part, another board of the same size. These are, I don't even remember what these are. 3/32 by 5/32, probably something in that range. HO 10 by 22s, possibly as well. And this goes across the back, and this one goes across the front, spans the width of the platform. This spans the depth of the platform. This one rests on top of this one, and we'll all get them pinned together with nut, bolt, and washer casting sometime down the future, but not tonight. That's called foreshadowing. And there's going to be a lot more boards here. This is just a box. We're just building a box. And it's actually somewhat easier to build this upside down. So this entire top of these 4 and the top of this board and this board are all in the same plane. So that glass work surface I like to work on helps you do that. That and a healthy excess of small spring clamps. Yes, the adage is true. You can never have too many of those until you buy way too many of them like I did a couple of weeks ago. And now I have boxes of them laying around. But the temptation was such that I could not resist. And here's more foreshadowing for you. Everybody recognize these? Coffee stirrers. Once upon a time, I bought a case of these, not a box, a case. The case is 10,000 of them. This is what I have left. I found it last 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I found it laying in the back of one of my, these scrap wood box, the big one on the left in the back. And they were all pre-stained and they came with that rubber band as well. So I thought, well, this is destiny speaking to me, screaming at me, use me, use me, use me, and it will get used. So we have a platform, we have coffee stirrers, we have 4 walls assembled. We're on our way. Nice and simple, basic structure. And I'm stopping there.